Hello, everybody. Welcome into today's edition of One Nation Weather. We are covering quickly for you here another major cold front working its way across the country. Here's a look at your Wednesday morning infrared imagery for you here, and you can really see that blow up of some showers and thunderstorms that's been working its way into portions of the north central tier of our country for us here. Some very heavy thunderstorms producing some hail working out of the Dakotas through Iowa, now working their way on up into Wisconsin and Minnesota. We also have the wraparound snowfall and mixed precipitation back off into the west for you here. Here's a look at your setup for today. That yellow zone is going to be where there's a level 2 severe weather threat today, so from central Iowa stretching back into the plains. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you can see the cold front goes all the way down to the Mexico border for you there, all the way up and around, all the way around the northern tier, quite frank with you here. You can see a little bit of light rain working its way through portions of New York and portions of Maine today as well, and then you can see that mixed precipitation as well as snowfall in the northern end of this, maybe some freezing rain into portions of Wisconsin. And then notice that heavier snowfall is going to be into portions of the Mountain West. We also have a fire weather threat today. Temperatures working their way up into the 70s, 80s, and 90s for many spots ahead of this cold front. Many spots in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s as you work your way behind it, as well as into the northeast where temperatures are going to be a bit more mild and chilly for the day today. Here's your fire weather. You can see that level 4 severe weather threat goes from western portions of Texas, the panhandle of Oklahoma, as well as into eastern and central New Mexico, southeast Colorado for you there, as well as another secondary zone for you there in portions of Nebraska and Wyoming. So here's a look at those max wind gusts for the next 24 hours in this zone. Look at this near hurricane force wind gusts in the southeastern tip of Wyoming. We'll also see some strong gusty winds anywhere from 30 to 45, maybe even 50 or so miles per hour across the rest of this zone, even over into Missouri, quite breezy today. And you can really see the winds that are associated with that front. Now, here's a look at your Wednesday and Wednesday night severe for you here. It's looking like 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts are going to develop along the line for you here, as well as some 1-inch hail in general, but we'll see some isolated zones of 2 to 3-inch hail within that yellow area. A couple of tornadoes will be possible. There's that tornado risk you can see in that kind of the browner color for you here. That's where we're looking at least the potential for a couple tornadoes. In the green, in general, not really looking at any tornadoes, but there's at least a 2% possibility within 25 miles of a point. So there will probably be maybe one within that zone. Hail is going to be a lot larger as you go eastern and southeastern Nebraska, stretching back down into portions of Oklahoma City area, and then the winds are going to be strong as this line progresses north and east, as well as that flood threat. Today and tonight we're going to see the flooding threat as we have some repetitive rounds from Wisconsin, portions of Minnesota, all the way back into eastern Kansas. And remember, there is some snowmelt flooding going on in some of these areas as well, as I heard on the Weather Channel earlier. Dew points are going to be surging into the 60s, but the problem is, in that zone you can see there for you in Texas, if you want some heavy thunderstorms there, Texas might not be your best place just because there's not quite as much energy there just to support these thunderstorms. It's going to be too dry. It's not really going to be able to get any going. But I do expect just a few to get going in that zone, which is why there's a level 1 risk. It would be higher if more were expected to develop. That bigger risk stays off into that zone from Missouri, portions of Kansas, and Oklahoma for you here. Thursday, severe weather risk looks very similar with 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, 1-inch hail with isolated huger hail, as well as a low tornado risk with a flood risk pushing east. Notice that level 2 flood risk from southern Illinois back into northeast Texas for you there. And you could see really that severe risk and that flood risk overlap on your Thursday for you here as the rain stretches all the way up into Wisconsin and Michigan. Here we go again with more mixed precipitation, a couple of areas of low pressure. This one's going to circle some very heavy snowfall back into portions of Montana, Wyoming, western Dakotas, and Nebraska. We'll also see some more of that precipitation go all the way back over into the Seattle metro area for you here. But notice there's that zone of freezing rain maybe touching portions of the upper peninsula of Michigan as well. Maybe some pop-up storms in Florida. And then it looks like a level 2 severe weather risk pushes southward as we go into our Friday for us here. But then that front's going to begin pushing east as Friday goes on, bringing that flooding threat from places like Memphis all the way down to Baton Rouge and places like New Orleans. So here, that is it for this forecast. I hope you guys stay safe through the day today. And as always, here's the credits. Thank you, a special thanks to Dr. Levi Cowan of Tropical Tidbits and Pivotal Weather. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, everybody.